Well, here we go. I'm going to donate my, I don't get paid for this. I'm going to donate my time and energy and money to a little bit of more enlightenment for you about the world you live in. And we're going to do the Sky Mirror and cover the last week in February in program 1055. What's going on in the sky? As above, so below, they say. Well, as above, Mars is going to go by Uranus at the end of your next week, which basically Mars is a source of ignition. Uranus is electrical things and motors. So there's going to be electric fires, and it's going to affect a lot of stuff like airplanes and trains and buses and things like that. Planes, trains, and so a hint of it will come up on the 22nd, 5 days from where you're at now, roughly. And then the main thing comes down on February 29th, when the moon sets it all off. Now, as Mars goes by there, it isn't just one day. It gets closer and closer. You're going to see a lot of people start acting up. And it's like the homeless that we're persecuting so much. Yeah, they're going to defend themselves. And environmentalists are going to go on the offensive. I mean, never have so few people done so little to kill so many. The people who deny global warming. And here King Trump is going along and fulfilling all of his promises, bang, 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 without thinking, huh? So even the protesters in places probably aren't going to be peaceful as you get to the end of February now. And Saturday night here, let's see, on the 25th, there's a happening, and that has to do with the moon hitting the south node and Mercury. And here's a problem for kids. Yeah, it's Saturday night, the 25th. So good time to keep your kids home, because you don't want them calling you up and saying, I need help. So travelers and kids are having a tough time here. The good news, well, on the 26th, there's a new moon. Changes a lot of stuff. This new moon's at 8 Pisces. It's on the planet Neptune. It's in Pisces, a mutable water sign. So it's a good planting moon, especially around the 26th or March 6th. For crops that grow above the ground. Root crops, it's good on the 16th of March. And you know, a new moon on Neptune gives you new strength for religious people and oil people. Oh yeah, it's okay if they run all the pipelines. Here's a trick about pipelines. I'm an old engineer. When a pipe makes a turn, if there's any grit in the stuff that's going through it, it wears out the elbow right here. What's coming out of the North Dakota pipeline is some of the worst stuff ever, and it has a lot of little fine stuff in it. And any place that makes a turn, you know, you better have some controls, or you're going to have a leak. Anyway, enough. Let's take a look at what it's like for you. What's going on here in your next 10 days? I got the planetary pattern here. Pluto is squaring Jupiter and Uranus, and we still have policing trouble. Aggressive stuff going on there now. Quite aggressive. Mars squaring Pluto, probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday especially. So a lot of anger, a lot of uncontrollable anger about that time. But there's some up times too. So here's Jupiter trining Mercury. The kids are laughing, you know, in the middle of the week. A lot of truth and wisdom comes out, Jupiter sextiling Saturn. But it's opposing Uranus. And the rich people and the lawyers are taking down the environmentalists or the protesters or... I got very little to say about this. I got to get back up. I'm used to fighting. I haven't felt like this about the so-called government of the U.S. since the Vietnam times of the 60s, when I wanted, you know, Drop out time. Don't support this government. Stand up. Well, we're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern. If you're on Thursday night, the 16th, the moon's going by a nice trine to Neptune. You probably feel kind of religious about things. All that stuff you learned in school. Patriotism, hooray! Are you being patriotic to the U.S. government, which is just a big militant corporation? Are you being patriotic to the Bears and your football team, or to your church? Patriotism can be misplaced easily. Watch yourself Thursday night. See what you're patriotic towards. Where your belief is, huh? Moon in Scorpio, good time to do some deep diving. On Friday the 17th, starts with the bad square to Mercury. Hard to get going, can't communicate well. But just around lunch, just before lunch, here the moon sextiles Pluto. There's some discovery. Scorpio is the sign of Pluto. The Sherlock Holmes is out. Listen up. You may discover something new in the middle of Friday the 17th. Saturday morning, on the 18th, the moon has gone into Sagittarius. Well, sometime after breakfast, but before lunch. There's the moon in early Sag squares the sun in early Pisces. Yeah, as you're watching the show, the sun is still in Aquarius, but it's going to go into Pisces, Saturday. And that new moon set it off, and it's turning over to the water signs. But you got one more day in Aquarius when your bright thinking happens. But you won't like it much Saturday. No. Here on Saturday the 18th, the moon squares the sun. Can't get nothing done. My plans aren't working out. Ugh. Moon's in Sagittarius, a mutable fire sign. You can change it. Time you get to late. Actually, this is Sunday morning. Sunday morning, the moon is going to sextile Mercury. And there's some good thoughts. And you can talk and communicate. But as soon as you do, the moon squares Neptune. And confusion and delusion. And what did he say? You better write it down. Sunday morning. Music's too loud. There's bad smells. Yeah. Sunday night. Oh boy. Here's a nice trine to Mars. The heroes are out. Venus. This was Venus back here. Excuse me. I misread my own writing. That's Venus. Comes in early Sag. So this is the moon trining Venus. Happens Saturday night late. Midnight 1, 2. This is actually 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's some love. There's some sex. There's some sweets. But the square to Neptune means problems with alcohol and delusion. So, watch out what you love Saturday night, Sunday morning. There may be some confusion about it. Sunday night, here's the moon trining Mars, and the heroes are out. Romeo is chasing, Juliet around. And late Sunday night, around 10, 11 o'clock, the moon has a nice sextile to Mercury. You can think, you can talk, you can communicate. Feels pretty good, huh? Getting organized. Monday morning, it get really organized. Here the moon sextiles Uranus. The technical things are going well. Things are self-evident, secular, not what you believe. Believing is Neptune. Thinking it out is Uranus. So you're doing that here on Monday morning. Good for you. There's also a sextile to Jupiter that comes up here in the middle of the day. And there's wisdom and lightning bolts of truth. And finally, there's a conjunction to Saturn. That happens just after lunch, before dinner. The moon going by Saturn solidifies it all. What'd the judge say? The judge okays the rich lawyers, opposing the homeless. Well, I guess you better go along. Look out. Judges aren't what you think. They're appointed. They're not elected. And you can't get them out of office once they're there. So Saturn's a dangerous character. Yeah. The argument amongst the politicians about who's on the Supreme Court goes on and on and on and on. Load up the Supreme Court, and it goes for a long time. Well, that's Monday, there's some good sense, some discovery, a lot of, well, no, the discovery is really over here. Tuesday, the moon is shifted into Capricorn, starts with a nice sextile to the sun. My plan's going through. I feel pretty good Tuesday morning. Kind of powerful, huh? Got yourself organized? Well, Tuesday afternoon, the 21st, here's the moon squaring Venus. There's no rest, no sweets, no goodies. But just wait a little bit. Oh, there's music, religion, art, Monsanto. Yeah, that's all good stuff. It seems like it Tuesday night around dinner time. Look out. Wednesday, it changes a lot. On Wednesday, the moon's going to go by Pluto. There's going to be some panic. There's going to be the discovery you may not like. Happens in the middle of Wednesday. And here's Mars squaring the whole thing. Mars squaring Pluto, temper tantrums, road rage. Wednesday, everybody's in a hurry, and nobody's going to stop me kind of feeling. Look out. It doesn't get any better Wednesday. The moon squares Jupiter. They're all overdoing it and rationalizing what they're doing. Yeah, we threw all the homeless out. They can't live there. Oh, the lawyers say that's okay. Look out. Wednesday is the day of the devil, far I can see. And he's angry. Yeah. Thursday, 23rd, the moon shifts into Aquarius. Feels different. We get a little more common sense going, for we're in the sign of Uranus. And common sense, like Ben Franklin said, things are self-evident, not what you have to read out of a book of religion. Friday morning, here's the sextile to Venus you've been looking for. Happens 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning Friday. Friday is Vendredi, Venus's day, Freya to a Nordic. That's the day of Venus. And so, if you're with somebody you love, wake up early, stay in bed late Friday morning. Even Mercury stays out of your way. The kids won't bother you. Kids are happy. There's nice words. Friday morning's kind of nice. As you go along, you get to this place here where Friday night, late, early Saturday morning, the moon sextiles Venus and Mars. And what's going on here? Well, you got your Venus Friday morning. This is Mars. This is sports. Stuff like that. But, go out and be a brother because Mars is on Uranus. This is not your ordinary stuff. Here's a time when a sports figure might stand up and say, hey, what's self-evident here is we put a king in charge of our country. Look out! So, if it's unfair, it's a good time to stand up Friday night, Saturday morning. On Saturday, first half of the day, the moon's still in Aquarius, and you'll get some intellectual freedom. The last half of the day on Saturday, the moon shifts into Pisces, where the new moon is. There's the south node first. That's just after dinner. The moon goes by the south node. Oh, we all need help. Poor Pisces. A little tough, isn't it? The new moon isn't until Sunday morning, and it's very close to Neptune. And, if you're inspired and your inspiration is not driven by religious zeal, if you're inspired, let's clean up the ocean and let's stop with the pesticides. Why should we let the chemical companies and the oil companies and the big pharmaceuticals with their Neptune science run amok? Well, we let the churches do it. Why not let Monsanto do it? Excuse my pessimism. I've seen too much of this, all my life. Discovery happened Sunday night. Here's the moon sextile Pluto. You may find out things weren't quite what you thought in the morning of Sunday when everybody went to church. We all stood up and sang the same songs. When I went to church when I was 8 or 9, it was Onward Christian Soldiers. What was that? Onward Christian soldiers marching off to war. Boy, did I get brainwashed. I didn't start seeing the light till I was 35 or so. I'm sure a lot of you are laboring under the same delusions, what they taught you in school, what your culture said. Oh, Coca-Cola's okay. Hey, you got to discover it yourself. Sunday night about midnight's a good time to do some of that on the 26th when the moon sextiles Pluto. Monday on the 27th, the moon's going to go by Saturn after breakfast. I mean, the square to Saturn, and it's not going to be a real happy time. It's going to be a slow Monday, so leave a little bit early. Huh? That's the way it is right now.